Three, two, one. Hello everybody and welcome to our second Giro d'Italia preview. My name is Jess Branker and I'm once again joined by my expert analysis, David Hunter. How are you?
Doing well.
So far, we've had, 9 stages of the Giro d'Italia. As always, it's been great so far. Today, the plan of the day is that we're going to first review some of the first stages, talk about who surprised us, who did as expected, and who might have failed. And then we're going to move on to, we're going to analyze the next 5 stages before the next rest day. We're going to go on to our Stage Hunter stars, and then our GC stars. And then we'll make a prediction again based on what we've seen so far. So let's jump straight into it. The first 9 stages. Who has done the best, like overall, in the first 9 stages?
Kittel, greipel, Brambilla, I would say.
I agree with that. What about Tom Dumoulin?
Yeah, he'll be disappointed. He got his first win. He got to wear pink, which was brilliant. But you know, he would have hoped to have won yesterday as well, and clearly he wasn't. On great form, didn't have great legs. He's got a sore bum, and he's got bad legs. So it is a good race for Dumoulin, and he wore pink in Holland, which was fantastic. But he would have liked another victory. But who's saying he might not get that later on in the race?
Well, there was rumours that he was going to try to lose time in the second week and then go in the attack later on in the third week to try and get a stage win there. We'll see if he stays that long, actually. He might even go even further down the GC list. Bob Jungels is also a guy that surprised many of us. What do you think about his performance so far?
He's going really well. It shouldn't be a big surprise considering what he's been doing in the last couple of seasons. Dumoulin's fallen away from the GC picture. Jungels is still in charge of the white jersey. Similar riders in terms of the big TT stars. It will be interesting to see how long Jungels can survive up against climbers in that category like Davide Formolo. So Jungels has a good chance of holding on all the way.
How about some of the riders that have disappointed you so far? Any riders you look at and you think they really should have done better so far in this first week?
Name an Italian sprinter and you've probably got it. The Italian sprinters have been poor. Pelucci, laughingstock. Mircecco, overrated. Viviani, horrible. Medolo, just not quite there. Nizzolo, not very good either. The Italian sprinters are having a nightmare.
How about Fabian Cancellara, who's just abandoned?
What can you do? Got sick. Nothing you can do about that. If you're sick, you're sick. You're not going to win a stage in a Grand Tour if you've had stomach flu.
And I think we owe an apology. I particularly owe an apology to Tim Wellens. When Tim Wellens attacked with Pim Lichtart on that stage, I tweeted out, #Tim Wellens prematurely attacks again, and they should be making pretty good merchandise off of this. Who knows? He went on to win that stage. How about that?
Yeah, just shows you he knows better than all of us.
That guy is going to turn into a great rider one day. And sometimes these premature attacks, they actually do work. Let's look forward to the next 5 stages. We start with the stage to Sestola tomorrow, which looks to be a great race. A similar stage last year, Astana went to the front with a Roux and Landa and put down the pace. Could we see that tomorrow?
I don't think so. I don't think it's Nibali style of racing. It might be a Roux style of racing, but I don't think it's kind of how Nibali wants to operate. It's a tough looking stage. We have the Cat 1 climb, which is the penultimate climb, which is a very long climb, but it's got a big, huge false flat in the centre. The final 4 kilometres is about 9%, which is very, very hard. Then we have a relatively technical descent down to the climb up to Sestola, which is only about 7.85%. They did this last season by putting in easier climbs to finish. Sestola, we were here 2014, Peter Wiening won, but they climbed all the way up to the top of the mountain, which is a considerable distance up. It's going to be interesting. What happens on that penultimate climb will determine how big the group is on the final climb. But the riders who climbed well in Arezzo, you would be expecting them to be there, maybe a group of around 15 riders or so.
How about a potential breakaway victory here? We've already seen one with Brambilla when he went on to attack and win that day, and also gain the pink jersey. Who could go on the attack here today and win the stage?
Well, we've had three kind of hilly stages, and all three stages have been won by a breakaway rider. Brambilla from the morning break, Ulissi and Velens from a later attack. None of the GC teams really seem to be too bothered in chasing down the attacks. Problem is, these climbs suit Valverde extremely well, and he is by far the fastest of the sprinters. So the Arezzo stage, the stage where Ulissi won, everybody was just waiting for Movistar to control, and Movistar, they don't like controlling that much, to be honest, especially not in Spain. So they just sit up and then bye-bye break. So for the rest of next week or this week, breakaway has a really good chance in all mountain stages until the GC stars decide that they want to win some stages themselves. Until it starts to get much harder on the final climb, that's when you'll see Astana and Sky start to dominate the peloton. Riders who could go well. Look to riders who have done well already this week: Velens, Demarque, Priedler, Bussato, riders of that ilk. You've got to be relatively far down in GC. Most of these guys are now. Always good to pick an Italian.
I agree with you. We actually got a question earlier today regarding Sky, Movistar, and tactics. So far, we've seen so many stages suited to Valverde go to a breakaway. Why isn't it that Movistar go to the front, put a bunch of guys down, then pace it back? Because we've seen Valverde be the strongest out of the bunch finish. Why don't they do that?
Because it's 3 weeks and it's a long race, and they don't want to burn their riders out yet. They're now down to 8, one of which is Rojas, who is a sterling rider and does a great job, but he's not really suited to riding on the front for a long period of time. Within that 8, you have Valverde, Amador, Visconti, Betancourt. None of those riders really want to do any early work, so you're only talking about a couple of riders available to do the early pacing, and Movistar just don't want to commit, and they don't want to burn them out before that final week, which is going to be very, very challenging. So that's the reason. They also like to get cooperation from other teams, which is only natural. They don't want to be stuck on the front working all day by themselves. They want others to cooperate, and that's not happened yet.
Not yet. If you had to pick one name do you think could go on to win today's stage, or this stage, sorry, who would that be?
Matteo Bussato.
I'd go with Demarque. He was close the other day. He's been looking strong. He is gonna get a stage win here in the Giro d'Italia. Next stage, that finish looks interesting. It really does. With the form that greipel has shown, could he actually get there in one piece?
No. I know it looks like a little bump, but yeah, this is classic roadbook genius. The little bump is 3 kilometres long. It's only a Cat 4 climb. The opening 2 kilometres is 8%, and then the final kilometre is 10%.
Wow.
So, no sprinter. Colbrelli, potentially, he was there the day Ulissi won, which was a fantastic ride by Colbrelli to get over that climb, the only sprinter or fast man to do so. So basically, you've got a 3K climb at around kind of 9%, which is going to just be brutal, and then it's very up and down towards the finish. You even have another 6% section for around a kilometre, quite close to the end. That is another day for a late breakaway. It's a day for Ulissi. It's a day for Valverde. Most of the days are for Valverde. He's got to win at some point.
That's the theme, ain't it? And that's why you just sit there and you look at the tactics of Movistar. Because if you look at the grand scheme of things, it's going to be tough for Valverde to win the overall GC. He could have gone away here. He could have left the Giro with 8 stage wins if they'd gone for all of them.
Yeah, it doesn't work out that way. But you saw him in Arezzo at the finish. He's by far the fastest of the GC riders. There is no question about that. Being so much faster than them really does put the pressure onto him and his team, and they just have to do all the work. So what you'll probably see is Movistar target one of the days that's coming up. It could be tomorrow, it could be that stage itself the next day. You just don't know.
How about Valverde's teammate, Amador? I think it was the first sprint stage. He was up there in top 10. He's been looking good. I think he's 3rd overall in the GC right now. This is a stage where he potentially could mix with the best in a sprint.
He could, but if it comes down to the end, they will ride for Valverde.
They would. So who would you pick for a late attack here? Or maybe an early breakaway that can go on and stay the entire day?
More likely a late breakaway. There is no hills for the early break to gain a big advantage. It's quite easy for a team to control it. You're looking at a kind of late attacker. I'm going to have to say Valverde. He has eventually got to win a stage, and this one looks the easiest to control.
See, I'm expecting a Tim Wellens early attack again. I mean, this finish looks suited to him because it's one where you can attack early and just put down power because it goes up and down the entire way to the finishing line. That suits a certain Tim Wellens. Then we get a treat. For many, this looks like a really boring stage because it's pancake flat all the way to the finish, ending in a sprint. But we like sprints and we like sprint trains. With Kittel gone, and maybe greipel not feeling as well this far into the Giro d'Italia, who are we looking at to actually win the sprint?
Greipel.
Besides greipel. He's obviously the fastest. We saw that the other day.
Madolo, I would say, I've been impressed by the lead out. He was unlucky on the uphill sprint that greipel won the crash just in front of him and made them lose a few positions. It's a technical circuit in the finishing town. Very tight, lots of 90-degree corners. There's one even about 300 metres from the end, which is perfect for a Ferrari Madolo dive bomb into the corner, take everything out, and then just sprint on to victory. Nizzolo's going to find it tough because Boy Van Poppel missed the time limit the other day with Viviani, so he doesn't have his final lead-out man, which is a real shame. I know Caleb Ewan is really targeting this stage, and Ewan is another rider who copes with technical finishes extremely well. The kid grew up in the criterium circuits in Australia. He can handle corners. He was a bit out of his depth the other day. Mezgec led him out extremely well, and he goes to the front. He does that strange over the handlebars position. He looked like a little boy compared to the men on the other side of the road that blew him to pieces. But Ewan's getting there. He's getting better stage by stage. So yeah, I think it would be Greipel, Madolo, Ewan. Those riders would really be competing for that stage.
I've been impressed by Arnaud Démare. What have you seen from Frances Deschamps so far with the lead-up trains? They've been on point, and he was close. The day that Greipel won, Démare was on his wheel the entire way up there, but then he got pushed by Raffoni, unclipped, and then fell far back down. I think Démare could have challenged for top 3 that day. And like, if we look at the sprint trains left, it's definitely Lotto Soudal with probably the best one, but FDJ is actually pretty close up there. So for Démare to sneak into top 3 and maybe even take the stage win here, for me would not be a surprise. I've got a lot of faith in him. But you mentioned Ewan. Isn't he a guy that's been disappointing so far with all the hype that's been around him?
Yeah, he's not done great. 4th place the other day. The early stages in Holland didn't really get going. He was boxed in a few times. The lead-out train didn't go particularly well. But Orica are not committing a lot of men to his train. He's got Bewley and he's got Mezgec, really. That's about it. So he's going in with just 2 men. And most of the other big sprinters have got much longer trains. So this will be the last sprint for many riders. What you've got to remember is that your Greipels and your Ewans, they will go home towards the end of the second week. So that will be their final chance of success. And then the last couple of sprints in the final week will be an all-Italian affair where we can see Madolo versus Nizzolo in the battle for the points classification. So Ewan, he's not been brilliant, but I think he'll definitely podium on that day, and he could reach a top step.
Last year we saw what happens when it's an all-Italian affair. You all remember the stage into Milano last year when Ilio Kaiser and Luke Durbridge stayed away. When Lamprey controls things, it doesn't always go according to plan, so watch out for that when you're betting on next week's races. Stage 13. This has got me excited. Nibali descends. Could even see a rainy day here. I'm looking forward to this. What do we have in store for this stage?
It's tough. 2 climbs towards the end. We've got a Cap 1, Cima Porzus, which is 8.8 kilometres at 8.2%. It's just horrible. As soon as you get a climb which is over 8% all the way, it's just going to be really hard on the legs. Then a steep descent, and then the Cat 2 climb, which is the final climb of the day, which is still difficult, 6.2%. That's 6.2 kilometres at 7.8%. It crests with 14 kilometres to go. And in that field of main riders, you have Nibali, Valverde, Amador, riders who have already seen so far in this Giro descend very, very well. Interesting. I'm not always convinced the moving the final climb and then descending down to the finish line. I do like to finish on top, but I suppose we'll get that in the final week. Who does it suit? Nibali, most certainly, with the descent.
Also, if you're considering taking a sick day for one of these stages, this is probably the stage you want to take a sick day for. I'm expecting fireworks. The GC is so close already. A lot of GC contenders think they can match with the best, and we might see them try to do something here today. I agree with you that sometimes the descent after the finishing line isn't the best, but it adds a bit of excitement because most of the time when it's finishing on the top, we see huge gaps and it's already over with like 5 kilometers to go. When the descent is in place, we could see a closer stage. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, it usually does mean we have more people coming towards the end together. Valverde and Nibali both descending extremely well just now. It would be hard to decide which one between the two of them would go with.
Yeah. Let's move on to the next stage though. We've got another stage in the mountains. Category 1s, Category 3s, Category 2s, we got everything here. It's just a cruel day out in the saddle.
Yeah, it certainly is. 6 categorised climbs. We open the stage with what looks like an 85-kilometre climb. Up to the Cat 1. Obviously, it's not categorised as 85 kilometres, but sprinters will not be looking forward to that day. The judges have been brutal in handing out time limit, suspensions, eliminations. Not so brutal in handing out eliminations for draft time trials, but good old Katusha managed to do that themselves.
Oh.
This is unbelievable. It's a horrible, horrible day in the saddle. If we get bad weather, then dear me, it's going to be terrible. You're up over 2,200 metres. We've got the Passo Giao, which is 9.85 kilometres at 9.4%. That's something only for the elite riders in the peloton. Then we have a descent. Then we've got a second cat climb, which is 11.5 kilometres at 5.8%. Then we have a descent, and we have it's uncategorised, but it's a short uphill finish to the finishing line. It's one of those days which could go down in the epic category.
It's cruel, isn't it? Like they were talking about next year starting, or in a few years they're going to start in Japan, and there's the Mount Fuji. We could get an early sneak peek of that in that first 80-kilometer long climb. That just looks cruel. I'm happy that I'm sitting in my chair with my left foot, just enjoying watching these guys suffer, and I can sit here laughing at them. On a day like this, when it's so tough and demanding, is it going to go to a breakaway, or is the GC guys going to fight for it today on this stage?
The winner of the Giro, the winner of any Grand Tour, likes to win a stage. It's an ego thing. So it will depend on who's won stages at that point. Landa will want a stage, Nibali will want a stage, Zakarin will want a stage. Eventually we'll get to a point where the GC teams control. It can't be breakaways every day. Eventually they're going to start controlling the race. It really does depend on what happens in the next couple of days as to what happens on that stage itself.
It does. And also, one thing to consider is the next stage is a very demanding time trial. Could we see some of these guys save their energy and keep something back with this in mind?
You could see the break surviving because the GC teams don't want to go full gas early on to save some legs for the beautiful mountain time trial, which is a favourite of the Giro organisers.
See, it's a shame that Alexei Tachevic can't get motor draft all the way up this climb. That would be beautiful.
That would be good. I just kept on laughing every time the camera went back to him. And
why did they keep showing it though? Like you'd suspect that you just like stay away from it and just not show it. And Ludvigsen wasn't even in it.
They wanted to show how ridiculous it was. I mean, the fact that he caught his Minuteman after about 5 kilometres was quite good. And then the fact that Tachevic stayed on his wheel for 30 kilometres. I'm pleased that Katusha saw that the punishment wasn't severe enough and kicked him out. I thought that was good play by them.
It's just an overall joke. I mean, just to see him, I think the punishment was a few switcher franks and then 6 minutes, I think, in the overall general classification. It didn't really matter for him anyway. But imagine the phone call you get when you say, "Hey, Alexei, we decided to pull you out. What you pulled that other day, it's just not acceptable." I think he's like, "Excuse me?" But I mean, fair play by Katusha pulling him out. I don't think anybody expected that from Katusha of all teams. I mean, they're not exactly known for their fair play rules, but you know what? Kudos. This time trial, though, we saw in yesterday's time trial that Landa was flying. We saw that Uran had difficulties. Jonas Zachary was channeling his inner Mikael Rasmussen. Some others out there doing well. Who could we expect to go flying on this mountain time trial?
Nibali. Landa did extremely well the other day. That was better than I think anybody thought he was capable of. Nibali will be eyeing this one up. I think he's the overall winner still, despite Landa's really good performance yesterday. Nibali, Zakarin was going really fast. Steven Kruijswijk continues to impress. He has managed to avoid losing time. Mainly, he missed the attack on the first mountain stage that Velens won, but Kruijswijk's going really well. We shall see over the next couple of stages if Kruijswijk is the real deal, and he's going to be challenging for the pink jersey. But basically, top 5 on GC, that should be your top 5 overall.
How about if we could see rain again? Because I think the weather conditions really ruined the stage yesterday, and it just didn't make it fun for us to watch as spectators, because it was over after the first 20 riders. Like, don't get me wrong, Roglic put in a great time and a great effort, but I felt like if Stefan Kung had optimal conditions, that guy would have beat his time by miles. What did you think about that stage?
It is what it is. It's cycling, it's a time trial. Weather often plays a part. That final corner kept us all entertained until the very end. Just watching rider after rider misjudge it and crash provided some humour.
We shouldn't be laughing about that, though, in seriousness.
It wasn't serious crashes. You've got to smile, you've got to joke about it. Just like your little viral video today about the giant rider who managed to knock himself off the curb.
The funniest part about that, all the giant riders were apparently trying to figure out who it was so they could laugh about him. It started with Mesketch, a previous giant rider, then Geschke, then Priedler, then it was Ramon Sinkeldam. Everybody was getting in on the joke today. It was even filmed by your good friend Dan Lloyd, so pretty cool to find that out of nowhere.
Yeah.
That is all the stages we're going to cover for this preview. The last 6 stages will be on this channel in about a week's time, so stay tuned for that. But now we're going to switch to our Stage Hunter Stars, something we started last time with Lee Howard, and it was very good. Like, all your 3-star riders managed to pick up a stage win, David. Congratulations on that. That was pretty big.
As expected.
I just realized that I did not actually prepare the stars for this, so let me fix that a second while you can talk through your 1-star riders.
Okay, I'm going for the rider already mentioned, 1-star Matteo Bussato of whatever they used to be, whatever they're now called. It was Southeast Villiers, whatever. Strong rider, going well, will now get in breakaways, and you have to fear him. Giovanni Visconti, who is used to winning stages in the Giro, he might have to work for his good old friend Valverde, but if Movistar aren't keen on working, they'll send Visconti up the road, and he is a dangerous man. And the other one is a rider who is going better than I had expected, Stefano Perazzi.
He is like, what, top 30 in GC right now? Oh, no, wait, top 20, sorry.
Top 20, yeah. Perazzi's going incredibly well. Now, don't get me wrong, he's flaky, and, he's got the perfect Italian temperament. He could lose a bundle load of time by attacking at a stupid point, but I'm liking the look of Perazzi.
Yeah, so have I. But see, the thing about Perazzi is he now considering going for GC. Like, he's the kind of guy who would say, you know what, this year I'm going to try getting top 10. Because he could do it.
He could do, but he's far enough down that tomorrow, say it's all together going up the final climb, Perazzi attacks. He's not a serious threat on GC. The big riders don't need to chase him down.
See, I've gone with a similar approach to you. I'm trying to predict a few breakaway riders that might go out and win, because there's so many stages here that could go to a breakaway. Alexandro Di Marchi, always a guy going into breakaway, I mentioned him earlier. George Priedler, a really good domestique for Tom Dumoulin, and now that Dumoulin has kind of lost time in the GC, he might be allowed to go away, and he was, in the first week, he was probably the super domestique of the week. I like to give him that award. And Matteo Monteguti, he was like, Brambilla is in the form of his life right now, but Monteguti got somewhat close to him, a minute behind him. I think we could see Monteguti go in the breakaway again and try something. And the most important thing is he's Italian, so he'll definitely try again in this race. Your 2-star riders.
Alessandro De Marchi, Damiano Cunego, and Diego Ulissi.
You think Ulissi could get another stage win?
Easy.
Really?
Yeah, easy.
Like, would he go in the breakaway and then attack on a category 1?
He's a bit close on GC, but again, like Perazzi, the others won't view him as a serious GC contender. However, any rider in the top 10 starts to get precious about their top 10 spot, and we've seen before in the previous Grand Tours where a rider goes in the break and the 10th placed rider chases it down because he doesn't want to lose his top 10. So Alisi, the stages with the tough finale right up his street. He's the only man capable of beating Valverde, although that will be an ask to beat Valverde in any type of sprint. But Alisi is the man who could do it. Canego, because Nippo Vini Fantini just go crazy whenever he's not in a breakaway, and he wants to take a stage. So we'll see if Canego can do something. And like you said, Demarque, multiple stage winners and Grand Tours already, senses he's got this sixth sense for going in breaks that stay the distance. So he was in the break to Arezzo, it stayed the distance. He's got this brilliant ability of judging exactly which break to join. And when Demarque gets in the move,
It's
usually
gone.
it's away.
Yeah. So to avoid only having all climbers on this list, I've reserved 2 spots for potential sprinters that could take that pancake flat finish. One has to be Andre Greipel. That guy is amazing right now, but the guy that I think can beat him in a straight up sprint, Giacomo Nizzolo. He's gonna see now that Viviani's out. I can't use my fandom and pick him, so I've got to go for another Italian. Nizzolo. He's got the some of that finish is very technical. Nizzolo could find the right wheel, go fast. I think he was second or third the other day that Kittel won. He's got the top speed. Greipel doesn't always get it right, and so Nizzolo will get it right that day. And he's also going to be up there for the points jersey, so it's a good shout. Also, we're talking about how people or riders outside the GC could have a chance. Jakob Fuglsang could be used in a 1-2 punch with Nibali, go early on a climb and be allowed to let go. He did it earlier this week where he finished second. He could do it again. And I gotta support the Danish nationalism. He had some bad luck the other day with a puncture, but he's been looking really good so far.
Yeah.
Your 3-star riders.
Tim Wellens, Andre Greipel, and Vincenzo Nibali.
See, I expected all climbers in the 3-star sections because there's so many climbs. Talk about your picks.
Greipel, in one of my written previews, I let slip some information that in the days leading up to the Giro, he hit a personal best in training, 2,100 watts, which is just insane. And, you know, he lost out to Kittel in the opening stages. He was disappointing. His team were disappointing. We've not seen him sprint against Kittel. We won't see him sprint against Kittel until the Tour de France now, which will be fascinating, the first few sprint stages there. But Greipel's packing the power just now, and his lead-out team have got it together. Jurgen Roelands in particular is doing some great work at the front, dominating for a long period. So yeah, Greipel I think looks favourite for the sprint stage. However, I have seen that bad weather is forecast, and Greipel, rain and corners are not 3 words that go well together. So if it rains, get your money on Modolo that day. Wellens, he's got more in the tank. He's not finished yet. He just needs to try and pick the right move. Now, I said a minute ago that Demarque has that sense of when to make the right move. Wellens doesn't. His win the other day was 1 out of, 50, however many chances he tries. So he needs to learn a bit of patience, but who am I to speak? He's the one that's got the Grand Tour stage in the bag. And Nibali, the time trial, or one of the stages with a descent. I'm waiting for Nibali to go bang, and I think it will happen at some point this week.
What about Valverde? He's on my 3-star list. Why have you left him out your star list?
Because I forgot about him.
For me personally, he has to be on your list. I'm sure you agree.
Let's say it's because Movistar won't control any of the stages.
See, that's the issue though. Movistar just don't care about their stage wins. They care about the overall GC, and they're playing that card with Alejandro Valverde. But so many stages suiting Valverde. One of these days, they're going to get it right. We mentioned it before. Valverde is the strongest. In this upcoming week, I think he'll take a stage win in one of these stages. He's bound to take a stage win. And then I could see a surprise of Mikel Landa going away. He's also on my 3-star list. So many mountain stages here. He's been impressive so far. He's been kind of staying under the radar. trying to peak for the third week. We could see him go. Oh, what was the lead? I can't remember. The Spanish leader race to Giro d'Italia. He was the most impressive rider that day when he won the stage. I'd expect him to go explosive here. Before we move on to our GC list, I want to show you guys something. I showed you it in the pre-stream. I've gotten these made. It's friend of the show wristbands. It's a way for me to pay it back to you guys. You guys have been so awesome so far supporting us. David and I have already got t-shirts. I love merchandise. I really do love something with my name on it. And so I'm already wearing mine right now. You can see this. I've already sent out a few. You can see the gift below on how to get one. Thank you all for your amazing support. Let's move on to the GC star list. Has yours changed since the last time we did this?
One change. Kreuzweg moves up to 2 stars and Uran moves down.
Give me a second while I set this up. So Uran moves down. Why is that? Is that due to his poor performance in the time trial?
Yeah, and Kreuzweg looks a real deal. I'm happy with Nibali, Landa and Zakarin as my 3-star picks. I think they look the best riders here. Hopefully Zakarin is okay after the time trial. Didn't look a horribly hard crash, but he might still take a couple of days to go over it. Micah, Valverde, Kreuzweg and 2 stars. Chavez, who's looked impressive. Uran, who was climbing well. And Firsanov.
You're sticking with that pick?
Got to have the Russian in there.
He's so far been, let's call him the surprise of the Giro, GC-wise. He's the new name to the list. How's he done so far?
He's flying under the radar. He's going about his business quietly. He lost a bunch of time in the time trial. He'll be going for a stage win or hopefully a top 10. They would kind of go together. It would be a huge result for Gazprom in their first Grand Tour. Just quietly goes about it. The stage to Arezzo, he was initially dropped when Valverde put the hammer down. Noticeably that day, Landa, Posivivo and Firsanov were dropped. They made it back on. It took them a while. It was about 1 kilometre, 2 kilometres before they rejoined, but that's the only day he's looked in trouble. The rest of the time he's hung on in there, and I would be very happy to see him continue to do well this week.
I can't actually remember my GC list from last time, but I know I made a few changes because I definitely added Steven Kreuzweg. You're right on that one. I had Hesjedal, and the condition with Hesjedal is that he cannot lose time in the first week. What did he do? He went out and lost like 4 minutes in the first week. He's like 16th right now. He'll definitely peak in the third week. He'll win a stage in the third week, but Kreuzweg is the overall better pick there. So he's in my 2-star section. I've also added Jakob Fuglsang to the 1-star list. It would not be a surprise to see him go top 10 in the overall. He's done it in the tour. He's got the capability to do it. He's actually been saying to Danish media that Nibali is not the outright captain of that team. He says that the legs is going to show who gets captaincy. It's an outrageous, it's a stupid statement, I know, but Fuglsang is the guy who would follow out to that. I've been very impressed by him so far, and Esteban Chavez has also been added to my list. The young Colombian's been looking good. Watching how Matt White has been trying to teach him how to stay with the best in the climbs, it's been interesting to see. I think he'll go well. Are you still sticking with Nibali to win the overall?
Yeah.
So will I. Thank you guys for watching. That's been our second Giro d'Italia preview. Thank you guys for watching, and come back in 5 days. I think it's 5 days time when we'll do the next preview. Adios.